Hello, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Kris McElwee, and I am going to be joined soon by Ljupche Stojanov to talk a little bit about volunteering so Ljupche will be here any moment now. In the meantime, I see that a number of people are joining. Welcome to
Oh,
all, and welcome, Ljupche.
thank you. How are you, Kris?
I'm very well. I'm happy to see you.
Happy to see you as well. It's been a long time.
It has been a little while, yes. Ljupche, go ahead and introduce yourself for folks.
It's a pleasure being here today and being part of the Global Youth Service Day. My name is Ljupche. I come from North Macedonia. I was part of YES back in 2012. I was placed in Kansas City and spent an amazing year there. I was also part of a lot of outside of school activities, meaning I got a chance to do a lot of volunteer activities, which really inspired me to do a lot of things when I got back home, but we'll talk about it later. Currently, I'm working at Johnson Matthey as a customer quality engineer and trying to find a lot of activities outside work. Uh,
Excellent.
you yourself were part of the staff at the U.S. Embassy in Skopje.
I was from 2015 to 2017. I was working in the embassy in Skopje, and that's where Ljupche and I met. Hello to anybody that I know who's joined us that I met while I was in Skopje. And right now, I'm working as a program officer for the Kennedy-Lugar Youth Exchange and Study Program, which is a great circle after having worked on the YES program as part of the embassy in North Macedonia. Now I'm able to be part of the program for all of the students around 37 countries all around the world.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, I'm very excited to talk today about Global Youth Service Day and volunteering as it's connected to the YES program.
Since we are marking the Global Youth Service Day, I wanted to ask your opinion about why volunteerism is so important, and it's basically a huge part of the YES program itself.
It is. It really is a pillar of the program. You experienced that yourself. We put such an importance on it because it's such an important part of U.S. culture and tradition. It's a uniquely American experience in the U.S. civic organizations, which are organizations that are not a business and not government. They're driven by individuals. They have an important role, and by volunteering, participants learn that they can make a difference, like one person can make a difference. So by volunteering, students gain leadership and organizational skills. And Global Youth Service Day is a key moment for a lot of them. They may have arrived in the fall and participated in some volunteer activities, but Global Youth Service Day gives them that opportunity to create a project and lead it and organize it. And the self-confidence that they gain from that, I think, goes a long way in their lives. So we put a big stress on it, and participants learn that ordinary citizens can make a difference, and they can take that back to their community.
That is really
I just want to make a shout out to folks that have joined us. If you have any questions for us, I think Ljupche and I are going to ask each other some questions, but if you have some, we'd love to see them as well. And thanks for joining.
absolutely. Just to add something to what you said before, I was aware of the term in general, what it means, but I wasn't aware about the level and what it actually means to the people in the United States. It really amazed me how devoted they were, especially because I volunteered with the Special Olympic North Stars, and I wanted to give them a huge shout out here. A lot of teachers from my high school, Staley High School, they were so devoted and decided to make the difference by devoting their time after school on weekends, and it really amazed me about the importance of volunteerism in their lives. So I didn't I wasn't aware of how huge that is when it comes to doing something above our normal activities every day.
Right. Yeah. And it is, it's fulfilling. It gives that, you know, you're giving to someone, to a cause, to a problem that exists, but what you get back in terms of self-fulfillment is really remarkable. And I think there have been a number of cases where volunteering has really led to someone just discovering the passion in their life. And we've heard from YES alumni who, as a result of the volunteer activities they undertook, either during their exchange year or after they went back and were alumni, have actually changed careers and gone into, say, a career in medicine or political science because of the volunteer work that they did.
True. You mentioned gaining self-confidence and developing skills with the volunteer work that a lot of the YES students are doing. Again, that is absolutely correct. From my experience and all of the projects that I had and all of the volunteer work that I did, it really gave me a different perspective and developed a lot of skills that would take time to develop through life and, you know, naturally go and develop themselves with the work experience and the life experience itself. But with the projects that I did, it really, they were a big boost to my self-confidence and taught me a lot of things that it would take time to develop over time. And most importantly, the network the network of people that I expanded. It's amazing what those projects can do. We can also mention a lot of YES alumni that impacted communities around the world. Can we mention some of them? Do you know some other projects that YES alumni did?
Well, I was, so I'm fairly new to this program officer job right now. And so I haven't followed it as much as I could, but I did a little bit of research. If you go to the yesprograms.org website and click on alumni, there are literally thousands of stories of what kinds of contributions alumni have made in their communities after they go home. So I saw stories about teaching English to communities that really didn't have access to that. I have a list here. Interfaith dialogues, forming a debate club and having students learn about how to debate and think more clearly, book drives, food drives, medical supply drives. There have been a huge number of activities during the COVID era. Training in first aid in Yemen to help people in a war zone help their fellow citizens who've been injured. Entrepreneurship in Cameroon and in Kosovo to help in Kosovo to help women who are victims of domestic violence become financially independent so that they can reclaim their lives. There's just such a variety, and the amazingly cool thing
In place every day.
is that, yeah, that each person brings that bit of themselves, that they learned that passion that they had while they were in the United States, and they take it home and create an amazing project that really changes lives back home.
We are meeting today because of Global Youth Service Day, as we mentioned. Can we describe what Global GYSD mean and why do we mark it each year?
Well, it's a day. It's, you know, volunteerism goes on all year round, but Global Youth Service Day is that one day that you really focus on. And I think it's interesting that it's right next to Earth Day. And
Sure.
it's a lot of the projects have an Earth Day focus. So it could be tree planting or beach cleanups, but any kind of service day can go on. And I think it is important, just like on Mother's Day, we celebrate mothers, but really every day we should celebrate mothers. And Global Youth Service Day gives that focus, but it's something that goes on every day. But I think it's also the timing of GYSD in the exchange year is wonderful, because students will have done some volunteering and projects, but with a Global Youth Service Day project, they can really expand their network, like you were talking about, Ljupche, and engage a lot more people. They can meet people in the community as well when they're in the United States, and it's just a wonderful focal point for all of the skills and activities that they've undertaken.
That is, I agree with you, and a lot of projects took place in Macedonia for Global Youth Service Day, and huge thank you to everyone who participated. Again, we encourage our viewers to ask questions related to Global Youth Service Day, how we can clarify more things about volunteerism, and what can they do to actually start a project in their communities. I wanted to share my experience with Global Youth Service Day. It goes a few years back. I decided to do a project for this day to mark the Global Youth Service Day itself, and decided to go where I studied for 4 years. So it was my middle school, and it was fairly new, because the one that we had in my hometown burned down, unfortunately, in a fire. So they built a new one, but it was fairly new, and they had to relocate all of the students, and the yard was unfinished. So I decided to plant a lot of trees and a lot of plants to make it more comfortable for the students and the teachers to enjoy their breaks. So that was my experience. A lot of YES students joined from YES alumni from other cities in Macedonia, and it was a really nice experience for everybody.
That's fantastic. They say when you plant a tree, you don't plant it for yourself, you plant it for your children and your children's children. So that's a wonderful project. Can you tell me about some other sorts of impacts that YES alumni volunteer projects have had in North Macedonia?
A lot of them are happening on a monthly basis. The projects themselves can be sorted in different groups. So we can have projects that involve cleaning areas, planting trees, helping vulnerable groups, which is also a big important part of our community. I remember for the International Women's Day, we would go to, there was a home for elderly people, and we would give flowers to the women being there, and they were expecting us every year ever since. So it was like a tradition for YES students to go there and visit them for the International Women's Day. Then we took an action to clean the yard there, to plant trees again, and make it more enjoyable for them too, because they live there now. A lot of cleaning actions take place nationwide. So there was an action to clean Vodno, which is a mountain nearby, near Skopje. And a lot of, as I mentioned, projects took place involving vulnerable groups. So helping others is a huge part of the YES program, and implementing changes, especially those in need. So I'm really happy that a lot of students took upon themselves to start such projects and involve people with disabilities, marginalized groups, and help them in some way. So Macedonia is I can say, really active when it comes to doing volunteer work and involving YES alumni after they come back from the US.
Right. Excellent. Really great to hear about all those projects. I've been in Mount Vodno, and it's great to hear that cleanups are going on. One thing that you said about that, with the idea of cleanups and giving flowers to women, and who might be a little isolated, is that it's I think one of the things, and you can tell me if this is true, one of the things that volunteering helps YES students when they're here in the United States understand is that there are problems everywhere, that we have homeless populations that they might reach out to feed, or we have beaches with lots of trash on them, or people that don't have enough health care, or they don't know how to read, or different problems exist. And
True.
volunteerism and GYSD give people the ability to identify those problems and figure out what they can do to make a difference. And I'm wondering if you had your eyes opened while you were in the United States about.
Yes, I was just about to share my experience, because the YES program itself is, how I see it, is made of two parts. The first part is going to the United States and spending 1 year there with the host family, going to the US high school, and actually promoting your culture and learning about the US culture. But the second part, and maybe a more important part of the YES program, is what do we do when we go back home? Meaning, how do we implement what we learned when we were in the United States? What changes can we make? What differences can we make? And what can we do to improve the community that we live in? So the volunteering in the US really opened my eyes, because I knew there were a lot of issues back in Macedonia. And I was wondering, what can I do to help? But until I came back from the US, I wasn't aware what can I do and how can I approach those problems, and what's the starting point. I see a lot of questions, so we'll go over them and answer your questions related to the Global Youth Service Day. But as I was saying, when I came back from the US, I knew the starting points and how could I approach different issues to tackle some of the issues or make some improvements that I'm seeing in my society. Really amazing experience. A lot of experienced people in the US who taught me about the importance of the volunteering itself. And most importantly, when I came here to Macedonia, the American Councils for International Education, YES alumni, and the US Embassy were a crucial part of my willingness to start implementing changes. So without the support of those institutions, I probably wouldn't be able to do as many projects as I did, and maybe make the changes that I wanted to make.
Excellent. I'm seeing that there are a lot of questions, so thanks all of you for engaging so much. Here's a question. Someone's asked, who can participate in GYSD project? And I think the answer is everyone. Anyone can participate. It's just a matter of picking an issue and creating a team of people to help you carry out some solution, and just carrying it out. There's no, you don't have to enter, you don't have to register. And Ljupche, what advice would you have for a YES alumni, or just someone who's interested to get involved in GYSD?
We got a similar question just right now. Do you have tips for how YES alumni can get started on a GYSD project? Good one. The first thing to do is to identify the issue or the challenge or the change that we want to implement in the community. So let's say that should be the starting point. If there's an area that I want it to be cleaned, or if there's a need for a food drive, identify your challenge or the change that you want to make and start from there. Afterwards, see if you can find some interested YES alumni or other friends that might be available to join or would like to join, because help is always welcome. A lot of a group of people can do way more than one people, and in case of ideas, logistics, finding more potential people who would like to join to promote the project itself. So when you have the idea, when you have the team, make sure that you promote the idea. So nowadays there's a lot of different free ways to promote the idea, whether that is social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube videos. Now I think there's TikTok and a lot of ways to get the word out and make sure as many people as possible join you and make it bigger. See if the next step would be to identify whether you need funds for it. Is it going to be, is it going to require funds? If yes, how much funds would it require? How would I gather the funds? Do I organize a fundraiser? Donating activities, or do I ask the yes office in my country of whether they can provide some advice? Those are the starting points for implementing the project. And feel free to reach out to the YES program in your country, to the YES program on social media, or you can feel free to contact me if there's any need for further advice or guidance about your projects.
Excellent. Yeah, there's one thing that I saw in the in the chat was that there are this is the fourth of a series of Instagram lives about Global Youth Service Day. And so if you look in IGTV, you can find the other 3 videos, and they'll have more specific information about GYSD itself. Someone was asking when can we do this? You can volunteer year-round, anytime, but GYSD is actually 3 days this year. It's starting today, right, the 23rd, and going through the 25th. So you don't have to be restricted to these days. It might be tough to come up with a project, organize it, and carry it out in the next 3 days. But it's sort of a kickstart, an inspiration to get started. And for YES alumni to use those skills that you gain during your exchange program and to really make a difference back in your own community.
Absolutely. We have another question. How will I get the right people to help me support GYSD? As I mentioned, once the word is out about the project that you want to do, make sure you talk to your friends, to your relatives, and see if you can find someone who's interested in the same thing. Or before you start the project, maybe talk to your friends and see what kind of ideas they have. So once you have the maybe three different topics that your friends might be interested in, pick one and start with one. There's always time for more projects, but make sure you talk to people. That's how you find the right people and find the help for your project. So networking, talking to people, posting on social media, talking to the YES office in your country, all of those are ways to find the right people for your projects.
Excellent. That's a very good point. Yep. And yeah, find people that are enthusiastic about getting involved, who really want to come and make a difference. And I think that'll be a really good team.
Kris, I wanted to ask about your volunteering experience. Do you have something that you would like to share with us?
Well, I did a big volunteer project, which was Peace Corps. That's a project or a program for U.S. Citizens who go and spend 2 years in a country that has requested a Peace Corps volunteer. And I worked on agroforestry, which is interplanting trees with other crops in Kenya for a couple of years. It was amazing and transformative, as I'm sure as much for me as your YES experience was for you. And one of the things that I really learned from that is you can come in with ideas of what to do, but you need to find a community that is open and that they feel something is up. Not necessarily that they feel it's a problem, but that you get them to buy into the issue. So like you may be trying to change the mind of a community, and that's fine. But making sure that you're not imposing something from outside, I think is something that I really learned there. And then when I've always usually have lived near the coast, and so I've been involved in so many beach cleanups, and that led to one of my careers, which was working on marine litter issues in Hawaii for 10 years. And so that was really a volunteer activity that became a passion and a career for a little while.
So exciting, so exciting. I'm sure you really enjoyed your time in Kenya and did a lot of great stuff there.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. And I think that yes, if anyone is considering applying for the YES program, it's an amazing program in so many ways, and you're a testament to that. But volunteerism is really a very important part, and Global Youth Service Day is happening right now, and so I really encourage people who have been wondering about it and watching these lives, and that they would actually apply and see their life changed, kind of like you did, like Ljupche.
True. I wanted to go back and just answer one question. What kind of projects are best to work on in GYSD? There isn't any limitation actually, so it can be anything. We mentioned organizing food drives. We mentioned organizing repairing an old yard, an old home, let's say, of your neighbor or anyone in need. If this is your first project, make sure you start small. So anything to give you the sense of what carrying out a project means. So what does it mean to start from scratch and develop it and then implement the project itself? When it comes to Global Youth Service Day, there isn't any framework that will tell you which projects you need to implement and if there are projects that are not acceptable. So anything can be a project for Global Youth Service Day. A lot of, as Kris mentioned, we have a lot of projects on the YES website. So if you go to the YES program site, a lot of great ideas already being implemented or have been implemented in the past. So I'm sure there will be some more inspiration to your willingness to do some amazing community work.
That's a great summing up, and I think we've gotten to most of the questions that were about GYSD and volunteerism, and I'd like to thank all the people that joined us on our chat today. And Ljupche, it's so wonderful to see you and catch up a little bit.
Likewise. I would like to also thank everyone who joined, asked questions. For any other information, feel free to reach out to, again, your YES office in your country, the YES website itself, and I'm sure you'll get the information you need really, really quick and in details. Most of the questions, let's say the frequently asked questions, are already answered on the YES website. So anything else besides that can be answered, I'm sure, in a really quick way.
Yes, yesprograms.org is the website, and there's information about volunteering, about what it's like on the program, about each country where people can apply, and also about how to apply. So people that are asking, how can I join? There's lots of information, YESPROGRAMS.org. That's a great place to start.
True. If there's any more questions, feel free to let us know. We have a few more minutes for some questions. For anything else, just Google Yes Program and you'll find it. It's there. It's
And the link is in the bio for the Instagram account here that we're on.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, well, thanks again, Ljupche. I think that we will say good day to everyone, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kris. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.